Tracy, and I'm going to be giving the messages for you today. They are general messages for Sagittarius and Sagittarian energy, so if it doesn't fit, don't force it to fit, okay? Just take what resonates and leave the rest. For those of you not familiar with me or the channel, I have no sugarcoating. I do not filter myself when I read. I just read how I read. So if that is not your thing, you have kids around, you don't appreciate those kinds of messages, I am completely respectful of that. I'm giving you the opportunity to sign off now. Otherwise, Sag, we are getting into your energies for February 2021, right? Getting right into it. Spirit, please. What is going on with Sagittarius and Sagittarian energy for February 2021? What is going on with Sag and Sagittarian energy for February? Here we go. All right. Okay. Give me one more. There we go. Oh, that's a few more. Okay. So we have the Hierophant on top, the Wheel of Fortune on the bottom, and the Wheel of Fortune in this deck has the Magician of the deck on the card. So the Hierophant is dealing with Akashic history. It deals with tradition. It deals with very, very high soul contracts, right? Soul contracts of the highest caliber. That's the focus, or what you're intentionally, consciously thinking about, right? You're thinking about your highest of soul contracts and knowing that there is a change of fate that needs to take place. This face of the card is in the night. So you don't necessarily see how the change is going to come about. You just know and sense that it is because of this energy, right? You know that you're deeply contracted to someone. The keys of truth are here. There's reflection. There's this reading or learning going on, trying to understand maybe what the history is. And you got someone holding a candle. This is the Hierophant's also a teacher, okay, and it's Tarian energy. So, you know, depending on your Tarian placement, pay close attention to that, right? That could be important for you because you know something's going to shift. I feel like you know something's going to shift. I feel like you know it's going to be in your favor. I feel like you've been manifesting it. You just don't know how it's actually going to come about. So, with that said, these cards... We have the Moon clarified by the Knight of Swords. The Moon, this has a huge, big old crab on the front. So even though the Moon is traditionally Piscean energy, which may be significant to you, this deck is very much a Cancer card. Okay, it's very much a Cancer card. And it's tied to the Death card in this deck, who presents the two towers with the sun in the center instead, and the dog and the jackal aren't there. There's actually a feminine who's vulnerable in her heart space and being received by the sun. So this is about understanding the shadow attributes of your house of Cancer, whatever rules your house of Cancer, what rules your nurturer energy, and the woundings in your own self that prevent you from focusing on this. I think putting on the mask is an issue. I think you're having an issue with something. You might be being passive aggressive or beating around the bush, or you feel like someone's not being straight with you, or that you can't actually be straight with them. trying to nurture or appease. There's communication, and maybe there's been communications, because technically when these lay on the table like this, the knight's going that way, it's going back. You might have had talks about your past, or where this wounding or this putting on a happy face came from, when you really are upset and you feel like you can't, I feel like you feel like you can't speak because this mouth is shut. This mouth is shut. And even though the Knight of Swords is a communication card, you can't see the Knight's mouth either. You can't see his face. You can't even see it in this side of the card. You know, so I feel like the communication you're having, I feel like it's definitely better than it was in the past, because this would have been fucking terrible moving forward. This is terrible communications moving forward. But I think there's a reflecting on past conversations and how you may have felt that way prior, even if you're not in that space now. I think you're facing the reality of the facade. I think you're facing the reality of the mask that you had to wear, if anything. Feeling like you need to protect yourself, knowing that your insides are really soft and vulnerable, and you have this really hard exterior because you don't actually want to be hurt. Super sensitive, right? I'm just getting super sensitive, and not just emotionally, but empathically. Like, you're also picking up on other people's energies. You need to remind yourself of that, Sag. You might be seriously, intuitively picking up on other people's energies and projecting them back at them, but it's not actually your true state of self. So be very aware. As we move forward, we do have the Eight of Swords in the back face, clarified by the Empress card. So I feel like there's definite healing going on with this Empress, because it's very representative of like a star card energy, where there's this big shining green star in the center. You know, it's like heart chakra healing. I think you know you have it in you. I think you know you're this Empress, kind of goddess embodied feminine energy. And I feel like you know your higher are protecting you, because the eagle here, it always represents Archangel Michael to me. I feel like you're being divinely protected. I think if you're feeling trapped mentally, it's something you could easily free yourself from. You don't actually need anybody's help to do it, right? Because the Eight of Swords, even though she's bound and tied, with a little bit of finesse in your thinking, remembering who you are and what you manifest, and your power, right? Your inner feminine power, your heart's power. I think you could easily get yourself out of this mental prison. I think you need to remind yourself that your angels are guiding you. Like, even if you can't see where you're trapping yourself in your thoughts, I think if you can simply trust the guidance, simply trust the synchronicities that are around you, that are helping you and guiding you, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. It's just a matter of knowing that you're not as stuck as you think you are, and you don't actually need help to get unstuck. You can do this on your own, right? You can do this on your own. Getting out of whatever mental prison you're in. Definitely has to do with shadow wounds, inner childhood wounds that create illusions. Especially if you were dealing with a Cancer who was definitely in their dark Cancerian energy, right? As a youth. So be aware. You might have to go back and really start to reflect on conversations that were had and remind yourself of who you are. And I think when you do that, we have the Ace of Wands in the night, right? The nighttime, clarified by the Five of Wands. And this is an internal conflict. This is your head going to battle with itself. You know, one side of your head wants to be very down to earth and very down to earth, but in your feels, like very human. And the other part of you is very spiritual and very soul-based and very logical, you know, thinking mind. And there's these two aspects of your mind that are at war, because maybe a part of you wants to be patient and a part of you can't wait. Maybe a part of you understands the divine timing and a part of you is giving up on it. You know, there's these two things going on in your mind that you're at odds with, and the divine With this Ace of Wands, whether you realize it or not, any lightning in this deck, I mean, it's striking the tree. The universe is going to come in and create some kind of flash that lights a fucking fire, right? Because that lightning lights a fucking fire. That's an initiation. That's the divine stepping in and creating more than just a spark. And it's back there, right? And it's back there. Like, you're here, maybe inspired and moving forward and claiming victory, but there's some kind of tree, family tree, right? Trees are symbolic too. It could be some kind of family tree, family history, familial karma, whatever it is that you left behind. The divine is striking it and lighting it on fire. So whatever was standing out and left behind, I feel like this energy of going back and going into the past is important. Don't pretend, okay? Don't pretend. If you have to go back and face familial situations, don't put on a fucking farce or a happy face like everything can be fine and will be fine if that's not the way you feel. Don't put on the mask or the belief that it could never heal or never be this or never be that, or you might be sticking yourself in the foot later, you know, when there was potential for growth. That we have the Empress here and we have the Queen of Coin here. The Queen of Coin is like a pre-Empress card, and this one's in the light, and the Hawk is here, right? So you have multiple bird messengers. This woman is covered in roses in her garbs. Very Taurean for me as a reader. But it could be any earth energy that you have very significant in your chart. There's definitely lucrative aspects here, feeling like well off, and this could definitely be your energy, like letting the past familial karma go in the subconscious, because these are both nighttime cards, knowing that the familial karma is being struck down, that it's not standing above the rest anymore, that you're officially moving away from that. This Queen of Coin, the Queen of Coin is a nurturer. She knows that giving love energy creates abundance, okay? This is not a King of Coin who manifests the abundance and is the breadwinner kind of thing. This is the woman or the feminine energy that is supportive of the breadwinner. This is the counterpart, right? This is the Queen of Coin is the ultimate counterpart, short of the Empress energy. She's very maternal. She's very maternal, more so in this card than she is in this one, right? Because this is a very lean and pretty little Empress, where this one is not so much. She's more homey. She's more natural to that. And I feel she's looking back because it was clarified by 3 cards. It was clarified by the King of Wands in the back face, the 4 of Cups, also in the back face, and the 10 of Swords in the back face. You know, this Queen of Coin might seriously be looking at that tree that was struck and wondering what the hell is going on. You might be having an epiphany or a divine download about family that you haven't spoken to in a while, and realizing that there's a huge snake wrapped around that tree. It's choking it out. There's a huge snake around that tree choking it out, and there's a masculine energy there, right? Staring at the snake, knowing that it's choking a tree in his domain, and yet it's doing nothing because it fears the snake. And because the snake has been wrapped around that tree for so long, choking that tree for so long, and the king has done nothing, the universe gets rid of the snake for them. The universe comes in and lights a fire on the tree, which would have been what this King of Wands had to do. King of Wands, Wands is a suit of fire. They could have easily, oh, I don't know how to defeat the snake. It's not like I could cut its head off. I don't have a sword. All I have is this wooden staff. Well, you can light the tip of that wooden staff on fire and light the fucking tree. There's such thing as seeds. You can plant a new one, but letting the snake choke on that tree forever. It's like the divine had to step in. It's like the divine had to step in. And now there's this ship either coming in or going out. Like and I'm feeling like it's coming in, because laying on the table, it's actually facing, the ship is actually facing the Queen of Coin. I feel like the ship is coming in and there's a bunch of spilled cups on the shore. Like there might be some negative emotion or bad blood or some kind of hurt there, feeling like there was just failure after failure after failure with dealing with the reality. And now there's finally the ship coming in. I think that has a lot to do with it. Like whatever you've been internally conflicted over, do I or don't I? A part of me wants to, but a part of me doesn't. Whatever that has been, that's been going on, I think you've reached a certain level of mastery with your manifestation and the physical reality that is ending self-sabotage, that the armor is finally coming off and the layers are being stripped off, and whatever, you know, bright light needed to be eclipsed is, right? Because that can definitely represent a super bright ego that needed to be eclipsed. Almost like spirit's blocking it out. And we have a masculine energy here who's decided to take off all the layers of armor, and because he just, I mean, the armor is completely stabbed over. You know, the armor might have saved him during the time, but he wasn't meant to wear it. It's not natural to be that guarded and take that many hits and still walk around and be comfortable. You can't have 10 swords jabbed into your armor and walk around like ain't nothing happening. No biggie. No, I'm not carrying any extra weight. Bullshit. Bullshit. Whatever the guarded energy was, something's going on. Something's going on, and I feel like the King of Wands, whoever this is, who might have turned their back to you. They might have turned their back to you if it's an actual person. It's not choking you out anymore. I think if it's your own masculine energy within and your ability to choose, I think you're having an opportunity to end the self-sabotage. That's why I think it's so clear. It's so important to be clear when you talk about the past, right? Especially, you know, with Mercury retrograde going on and stuff like that, and past issues coming back up to heal. Just be really well aware of that. Don't feel like you need to be conflicted. Just be honest. There's nothing for you to actually put yourself in a mental state where you feel like there's no solutions possible, when the solution is quite simple. Let the truth set you free, right? Let the truth set you free. What's the guidance, please, Spirit? What is the loving action that Sagittarius can take moving forward? What is the guidance card for Sagittarius, Sagittarian energy for February? Yeah, look at your pattern in relationships. Look at your pattern in relationships. It requires inner strength to recognize that you need to change or modify your behavior. This goes back to these old familial wounds I'm talking about, this ancestral karma, this subconscious tree that's still standing that needs to come the fuck down for good so that you could take the armor off and stop walking around like you could be stabbed 1,000,000 times and no one's going to notice. Like it's not weighing you down when it is. You got to understand, if you've witnessed things, right? If you've witnessed high soul contracts where people wear masks and you don't know how to change fate, like the universe is coming in and stepping in and making sure that those lessons are blown out of the water in a way that you can't forget them. You can't forget the lesson. There is no beating around the bush. There is no victim mentality. That snake's been choking that tree for too long, and this is time for you to light the fire. This is time for you to light the fire so that spirit doesn't fucking have to, so you can see the ship come in. Okay? I hope that helps, Sag. This is about you looking at your own patterns. Especially if irises are significant to you. And I say that because the irises just stood out on the card. Like if you had to let something go and maybe that's a synchronicity for you. I know my Uncle Joe had irises, and then every time I see irises, I think of my Uncle Joe. So, you know, if there's certain things that even popped out at you on these other cards, like oranges or poppies, or little sparrows, right? Little finches, little finch birds, things like that. Make sure you're paying attention to the signs and synchronicities. Like even here, you know, she's looking at this goddess energy is showing a mirror to the woman with the blue hair who's playing a harp, but her head's down and she looks tired and sad, and the goddess, this beautiful feminine energy, is showing her a mirror, and there's a little beautiful cherub in there, like return to innocence, like you're still an innocent child underneath of that sad and tired reality that you find yourself in. You're still a cute little cherub in there, you know? Remember that. And whatever you need to face, trust me when I say, the universe works in crazy and mysterious ways, and it'll help you if you're stuck. It'll help you change fate. It will help you change the direction of things when you don't know how to do it yourself. As long as you're asking to heal, as long as you're doing the inner work, as long as you're diving into your own history and trying to better understand yourself, Spirit will help you out, right? Spirit will help you out. So until next time, guys, I love you, love each other, love yourselves. Bye, everybody.